Hey, what's up, book friends? It's Caitlin and Tishka from Spill the Reads, and today I'm going to tell you all about the books I read in September. So, we read some spooky books, some books that turned out to be kind of disappointing, and I definitely started like a ton of books. I've been feeling kind of like, I don't really know what to read. There's just so much choice during this season. Should I go romance, horror, like cozy? So, I've kind of been all over the place. And let me tell you about ones that I actually finished. So the first one I want to talk about is called Strange Houses by Uketsu. This is a really interesting Japanese book that is kind of like a puzzle book, and I've never read a book like this before. So when I heard my friend Melanie talking about it from a dark corner of the library, I just like knew I had to check it out, and I was not disappointed. This book has a bunch of kind of like blueprints of different houses, and there's a mystery, and the characters are like looking at the blueprints of these different houses and trying to like they're pointing out weird things and coming up with like bizarre theories about how the mystery disappearances can be connected to what's going on in these houses. And it's just a really interesting, fun book. The theories they had were really wild, and I just like had to keep reading to see what the story was going to be like in the end. It's really short. It's just like a fun, spooky little palette cleanser, not a huge investment of your time. And I just really enjoyed it. So I recommend that one. Now let's talk about one that I had really high hopes for and totally let me down. It's Hard Copy by Fien Veldman. I found this book for Women in Translation Month and I finally got to it. It kind of took me a long time because I just, when you like really want to like something and you're like, oh, maybe I'm just not in the right mood. I'll try it later. I just kept trying this book, and yeah, it really let me down, I think, because I thought it would be similar to Sky Daddy, which was one of my favorite books of the year so far, and this just didn't really have a lot of purpose to it. It's about this girl in Amsterdam, and she works in an office job. She's like a copy girl, and she kind of hates her job. Um, and but she does really like the printer in her office, and she's starting to kind of like develop this, I don't know, kind of weird relationship with it. It didn't get as weird as I was like hoping it would get, but yeah, I just found it kind of like slow and boring. And there's a lot of these like flashbacks to her past that don't make any sense. And I just really struggled with this book that wasn't very long. So unfortunately, I don't recommend that one. I'm also bummed because Dave and Olive at Book Blather picked this up because they heard me like talking about it. And so I just like feel bad that they didn't really like it either. So I'm sorry to them. I owe you one. I hope you'll still try Sky Daddy. Okay, let's keep going. I also read Play Nice by Rachel Harrison, which is her latest horror novel. And I'm going to do a video pretty soon talking about why Rachel Harrison is the queen of spooky season. She writes feminist horror. Cheers! Another day, another dollar. All right, where were we? We were talking about Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. So I got lucky and I got a skip the line loan through Libby. So I was able to read this one, even though it's like super new. I think it came out last month. So I've read a couple of her books and I liked all of them. So I was really excited for this one. It's kind of like a haunted house story, but like her other books, it keeps this kind of like feminist vein to it. And this one was no different. This is the story of this beautiful, successful influencer named Cleo, and her mom passes away. And she's had a difficult relationship with her in the past. They grew up, she and her sisters grew up in this house that kind of like drove their mother over the edge, and they ended up having to go live with their dad. And they're just like estranged from their mom this whole time because she was convinced that there was some kind of like spirit or something that possessed the house. And the mom actually wrote this novel talking about her experiences in the house. And everyone just kind of like said that she was crazy and yeah, that she was like abusive. And so, yeah, they never really had a relationship with their mom, just had bad memories of stuff in this house. And so the other sisters like don't want anything to do with the house. They're like, just sell it. And Cleo is like, no, like I'm going to go and like flip the house because I'm not scared of anything. And she goes, and guess what? Like maybe their mother wasn't crazy after all. There was like creepy stuff going on in the house. Honestly, this book is pretty scary. Her other books like didn't feel very scary to me, like So Thirsty, which is my favorite book of hers, like a vampire book. I didn't think that one was very scary, or Cackle. I didn't think that was scary at all. That one's about witches. But this one like actually really freaked me out. But like Rachel Harrison books, like her humor just really shines through. Her books always make me laugh. Like the characters are just really charming. I just love her. I'm actually going to make a video about why Rachel Harrison is the queen of spooky season and just kind of like talk about other books of hers that I've read. And a compliment to this book is also this article she wrote for People magazine talking about how like the treatment of female celebrities in the early 2000s, like how this inspired the way that she wrote this character. Anyway, so I'll link that down in the description. And when I do my review, I'll also do like a spoiler part where I talk about the ending because I just like can't stop thinking about it and I need to talk about it. Okay, up next, I also read Endling by Maria Reva. I already talked about it in a previous video, but this book is really interesting because it uses some like really like funny, absurd topics to talk about the war in Ukraine and the Russian invasion. And it's just like such a unique book that you really have to applaud. Like we have this biologist and she's trying to save these endangered snails. And to fund her research, she participates in like the modern version of mail order brides, which are called like romance tours, where foreign men come to Ukraine and they do a bunch of like speed dates. And so she goes to these things not to find a husband, but just to like get paid so she can, you know, fix up her trailer and all that stuff, do everything. Everything is for the snails. And she meets these activists who they're like posing as other girls on the romance tours. They have this like plan, which is like to kidnap a bunch of these men. I won't really explain like what they want to do because that's really part of the story. When they kidnap these guys, this is like when the 2022 invasion like breaks out, and so everyone's plans change and they're just all like trying to survive. And it's just such a bonkers story. I did really enjoy it. I think the writing is incredible. The characters are just so interesting to read. But I just didn't like the way that like halfway through the book, the author starts doing these like really abstract chapters where she takes you into like her own life and talking about writing this book and stuff. And I just felt like she like took this interesting story away from us. So I talk about that more in my video, but yeah, I think I gave this book like 4 stars because I really like didn't like what she started doing with these chapters. But very interesting book. It feels so meta to read like fiction of something that is like still going on right now. So very cool, very fresh.
Oh shit, that is fresh.
I also read Crafting for Sinners, which just published. This is a new horror novel by Jenny Kiefer. And this is about this queer woman living in a small town in Kentucky called Kill Devil. And recently, this town has been kind of like overrun by this like mega church. They were already conservative, and now like this group is just like really intense. And they own the craft store that she used to work at, but then she was fired because they found out she was living with a woman. And so she's kind of like trying to work odd jobs. She's like knitting custom pieces and she likes to steal yarn from this craft store. One day she gets caught and something really weird is going on. Like no one else is in the store when they catch her, and they like close all the exits, and it quickly turns into like them hunting her. And you realize that maybe these people are not just like some random church, and it just gets really weird and culty, and it's like this whole survival horror story. But the thing is that she only has craft supplies to use as weapons, so it's also quite funny. I do have a full review of this. uh, it's like a Lifetime movie, so whether you like those or not, that's up to you. It's very over the top, pretty gory. Yeah, I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. Okay, you guys, and that's everything I read in September, except for the things that I kind of like started or DNF'd. There's a book called Slewfoot by Brahm that I listened to half of and just loved it. Like, it's so good. I ran out of time on my loan, so I'm back in line for that one. Hopefully, I get it before spooky season is over. Let's see. I also am reading Red Dragon by Thomas Harris, which is the first of the Hannibal Lecter books. That one is like, I'm going slowly but surely. Uh, I notice that like after I read an author like Rachel Harrison, who's like of my generation, the writing just feels very relatable. It's hard for me to relate to like older classic books like written by men where the female characters are not really interesting, because I've also been listening to Pet Cemetery and I kind of like feel the same way. So, yeah, that's something that I constantly run into. I want to get these like classics under my belt, but I struggle because I just enjoy contemporary stuff written by women so much more. I tried a handful of like seasonal romance books, like If It Makes You Happy, which just got a little bit too boring for me. I stopped that halfway. Haunted Ever After, I listened to maybe half of that and I just kept going in and out. I'm still listening to Love at First Sighting, which is like this UFO romance that is actually really charming. Yeah. So we'll see how those other books turn out. I will give updates on them next month. And yeah, I hope everyone is doing well. I'd love to know what you're reading this spooky season. So let me know down in the comments or if you've read any of the books I've talked about. And Tishka and I will see you next time. Oh. All right, you guys, see you later.
Hello, hello. Would the little prince like a drink? Would the little prince like a drink? Oh, baby, have a little drink. Huh? Yeah, you're thirsty. But you have to sit up. Come on. There you go. Come on, have a little drink. There you go. Oh, good boy. Thirsty. Okay, ready to go for a walk? Yeah, let's go. No? Sleepy?